My go-to meal would have to be a burger, a nice big juicy burger, a few meat patties in that burger, lots of cheese and mayo.
Meat boy MMA, ready for the fray. UFC St. Louis, where the fighters play. Derek and Hot go heavyweights in the cage, slinging those meaty hammers. Who gonna steal the stage? Rosie and Buckley, the Black Jaguars collide, throwing hooks, uppercuts, ready to go all night. Kevin Juicy locks, locking up the competition tight. Bruce Leroy bringing the sizzler, skew it right. Meat boy MMA, sizzler, skew it right. Meat boy MMA.
Episode 172, Meat Boy. Let's go. Brazil card in the rear view. Pretty decent week for both of us, 5-2. Had some nice calls for the both of us. Have to start with the Eleva Meatlock though. Fumble Dragon, Jonathan Martinez, the Fumble Bros, him and Chris Gutierrez, aka El Guapo. Apparently the lesson learned is if it's any sort of high pressure fight involving either of those guys, if it's not an Apex Legend fight card, then you got to fade both those dudes because we underestimated Jose Waldo. He came through, absolutely smoked Jonathan the Dragon Martinez. So what'd you make out of the Meatlock L on that one, Meat Boy?
Yeah, what I made out was, wow, Aldo is truly the GOAT. I can't believe on how good he looks still, especially with a 2-year MMA layoff. He was boxing for a bit. It's just wild that he goes from tying Jeremy Stiffus to absolutely destroying the fake dragon, because there's only one dragon, that's Lauda Machida, not this bum that we saw this weekend. Thought we had this one, clearly a big miss. And it seemed that the pressure and maybe even the country atmosphere kind of got to him. I mean, when you're fighting someone that is arguably named the King of Rio, I would be scared too. So it kind of makes sense, but it was too much for the Dragon. He couldn't handle it, and he clearly buckled and fumbled that bag.
Yeah, in the middle of the fight, they went to Dean Thomas, and Dean Thomas described what we were seeing as hero worship, and it was just so true, right? It seemed like the Dragon was just stupefied, mystified by having to deal with his hero across from him. So if that fight maybe was on an Apex card in a prelim headlining spot as opposed to a co-meet event in Rio, perhaps Jonathan gets that one done. But again, nonetheless, we missed that one. Second straight Meatlock L. We're coming back this week with another easy, absolute Meatlock, though, so stay tuned. We'll get to that one. But UFC 301 is a pretty sick card, Meat Boy. I thought that a lot of the fights delivered. You called Bonfim getting it done over Vince Pichel. Not really a close fight, but one that Vince was able to survive, and it did end up going the distance. But Vince Pichel got absolutely smoked by Bonfim, and then talk to me about the Joanderson Brito versus Jack Shore fight. I mean, have you ever seen a fight get stopped due to a leg cut via repetitive leg kicks? I mean, that was gnarly. What'd you think of Joanderson Brito, and is he future champ?
Yeah, Brito looked absolutely insane. I kind of felt bad for Jack Shore. It was just like, a puppy to get slaughtered. Man, that those leg kicks were absolutely insane. Never seen anything like it. Hole right to the bone, and GG's. Jack Shore going back to the PFL most likely after that one.
Yeah, back to Wales for sure, and it did seem like when they cleaned up the blood off his leg that perhaps the cut wasn't as bad as it initially looked like, but I mean, it seemed pretty deep. It seemed like almost a RoboCop third eye level cut, and to see that being done by leg kicks, absolutely insane stuff from Brito. And moving on, me boy, Kyle Bahalio got an easy light work finish over the Bear Jew. Cut what I thought was an epic promo, Renato Moicano style almost. A lot of fun stuff for the fighting nerd upcoming. And then Michel Pereira versus Ihor Poteri, me boy. I think we should just roll that clip because pretty sure you called over under 60-second banger for Michel.
Yeah, I think this is actually one of those under 60-second bangers for Michelle. This is going to be so fun, so easy. I can't wait.
Under 60-second banger, like you said, and pretty impressive stuff. What'd you make out of Michel?
Like I said before, under 60-second, once again, Michel Pereira is easily the future champ, easily the future GOAT. They keep feeding him, canned tomatoes, it seems like, but I think he is the real deal. At least I hope so. But man, is he entertaining. Man, is he fun to watch. And he delivers. Every time he delivers.
Yeah, and it's like if you're the UFC, you know that if you feed him a tomato can, that he's gonna crack it. He's gonna smoke those guys. So they can just keep feeding tomato cans. Michelle can keep getting easy 60-second finishes, and the fun will continue. Or perhaps they're ready to really test him against a top 15 guy, because I want to see how good Michelle Pereira really is, because he, like you said, is smoking all these tomato cans, easy light work, and is providing a lot of fun along the way for sure. And speaking of tomato cans, Meat Boy, you had the amazing call with Michelle Pereira winning in under 60 seconds. Vitor Pre-Limo took on Anthony Lionheart Smith, and Anthony Lionheart Smith was about plus 400. The entire internet hating on him, everyone riding the hype train of Pre-Limo, and gotta say your boy called that one. So roll that tape too, me boy. I'm buying the hype that Anthony's delivering. I know I'm the only one out there buying it because Lionheart is getting it from all angles, but let's go Lionheart. Lionheart finished. We said Anthony Lionheart would get that one done, so pretty stoked about that call. I cashed on a decent ticket at plus 400, so Lionheart to me was always a lock over Prelimo. Are you thinking that people put too much faith in Vitor, or is Lionheart back?
I think people put too much faith in Vitor, like myself. I think Petrino will bounce back. Dude has absolute bombs in his hands. I don't think Lionheart's back. I think he just is what he is. He's not an RDA. He's not a Where's Waldo, but he is a GM3, little bit better levels test. You beat Lionheart, you are definitely built for the top 10 at least.
Yeah, I buy that. Not quite RDA level gatekeeper, but a little bit better than GM3 gatekeeper, somewhere in between for sure. But a guy who, like we said, is capable of beating a lot of dudes. And Vitor Prelimo, I think we need to pump the brakes on that guy a little bit. But who knows what's next for sure. And then meat event, meat boy. I had Steve Urseg. You had Pantoja. We both watched it and thought Urseg won 3-2. Yet we're also pretty confident that the Brazilian judges were going to find a way to give that to Pantoja, maybe 3-2, maybe even 4-1. So it was interesting how we were talking about it. The judges' scorecard essentially went exactly as we thought it would, but unbiased, Urseg won rounds 2, 3, and 4 from our perspective. You thought the same, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And I thought that he didn't have to get that one done, but nonetheless, Pantoja keeps his belt. I hope they run that one back. I'd love to also see Urseg versus Brandon Moreno or Brandon Royval, because I think those would both be interesting. But Urseg really fought well. Just came down to that fifth round. He made a crucial mistake, and Pantoja was able to get almost 3 minutes of control time in that crucial round. So a good fight. Pantoja was begging the fans to stay and hear the champ's speech. Did Pantoja offer anything on the mic worthy of staying in the building?
Honestly, it was a little sad. I mean, the champ's begging for people to stay in the stands. That shows a sign that he was aware that enough people were leaving the stadium that or the arena where he had to actually say that. Usually, people usually leave right after the fight, but the fact that he had to actually acknowledge it, it must have been a lot of people because most people you don't really notice 5, 10, 50 people. It must have been hundreds of people leaving for him to even comment that. That's my guess, but meaning, man, I think the UFC might be a little bummed that he won. Uh, Urseg, I mean, he's that kid's the real deal. Someone that's barely been in the UFC, getting a title fight, arguably won it. If it was a different judge, if it was a different group of judges, 3-2 is what I had, but I guess it was 4-1. Pantoja, pretty crazy, but it was a great fight. Honestly, some of the coolest and best flow, grappling, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, rolling I've seen in a long time. It kind of reminds me of Moreno, Figgy, and I wonder if they might even keep that trilogy going because Figgy's gone, Moreno is emo right now, and he's taking a break. So who's going to keep the 125 division? It might be these two. Um, I don't know. Very tough to say. A lot of good matchups though, but man, I just feel bad. The 125 guys, it just doesn't sell. It doesn't sell unless you're Moreno, unless you're Figgy. Um, I mean, people were leaving after Pantoja put on still a very good performance. I mean, he did very good. He did what he needed to do. He got the dub. It wasn't a robbery in my opinion. It wasn't like this total blowout. Astro Boy should have won, but I did have Astro Boy winning this. Yeah, it's definitely a tough one.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a robbery by any stretch. I mean, it could have gone either way for sure. But we both thought Astro Boy had technically done enough, but the judges gave it to Pantoja. And then to your earlier points regarding the flyweights, I mean, even Demetrius Johnson came out and said, you know what, enough with 125ers heading pay-per-view cards because flyweights just the current state of the flyweight division is not enough to really sell pay-per-views. And when the greatest flyweight of all time is the one making that comment, you got to attach some validity to it for sure. I wish that we were still privy to the pay-per-view data because I'd be thoroughly shocked if this fight sold more than 100,000 buys. But who knows? Nonetheless, though, sneaker, low-key banger of a card, and St. Louis this weekend. Meat Boy, ready to kick us over?
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a low-key banger, nothing too crazy, but here comes a lock nonetheless.
Yeah, lock nonetheless. It's Juicy K, aka our boy Kevin Jousset, fighting out of City Kickboxing. His boy Black Jag Carlos Olberg fighting later on in the card. And Kevin Juicy, what can you say? I mean, we have been tremendously impressed with this kid so far. 2-0 on in his UFC run. Absolutely smoked Kiefer Crosby. Easy light work, first round finish in his debut last September. And then just a 3-month turnaround. He fights against Song Kanan and absolutely dominated Song Kanan across 3 rounds. And if we remember, Song Kanan is a dude who dropped Ian Gary, right? He won that round against Ian Gary. Basically, the only trouble Ian Gary has had in his UFC career thus far was in that round against Song Kanan when he was basically one punch away from almost getting slept. So Juicy walked through Song Kanan, easy light work, and he's taken on Jared the Night Train Gooden, who has had an up and down career. He is coming off a nice recent win over your boy Faux Foul, Wellington Turman, but got absolutely smoked by Carlston Harris before that. Got slept by Impa Kasong and I. Lost to Randy Brown. I mean, this dude's just kind of been up and down all over the place. And Kevin Juicy, we think, is a dude who might even have future title implications. So, what are your thoughts on this, Meatlock? How do you think Juicy K gets this one done? And is the Night Train full steam ahead, getting absolutely derailed in this one?
Yeah, this is gonna be one of those easy light works. I mean, we're pretty high on this guy where he is the real deal. I think it's gonna be an early and often finish for sure.
Yeah, it should be early and often. I mean, even though we were encouraged with Juicy K going the distance in his last fight and showing he can win a 15-minute contest, I think he does get back in the finish column in this one as well because this is a guy who was picking up finish after finish pre-UFC. And again, we saw the finishing capabilities against Kiefer Crosby. Easy light work. So perhaps he's able to do that same thing against the Night Train. And Night Train, again, we've seen him get finished early in contests before. So seems like just an easy meatlock combo for us, and we're trying to get our 98th meatlock. We went on that fat streak, right? It was 5 or 6 meatlocks in a row. Now we've dropped 2 straight, meat boys, and obviously Fumble Martinez didn't reignite the meatlock grill, but we think Juicy K will be the one to do that. So Juicy K by finish is the pick. We're keeping it simple, throwing down an easy 245. It's gonna net 100, get us that 98th. We're creeping to 100 meatlocks, meat boy, and got to get 98th first. So Kevin Jousset by finish. Are you saying early or is it often?
I think it's often and very early.
Yeah, it could be often, could be early. Let us know if you agree with the meat lock in this one. But Juicy K is the pick. We trippy main. Switch us over though, meat boy, because another absolute banger in this one: Slava Claus versus your boy Chase Hooper. Before we even throw some context, who are you taking? Are you taking Slava Claus or your boy Chase Hooper?
You know, my boy Chase Hooper might get it done, but I gotta imagine that Slava Claus is gonna be a stronger, better fighter. But he's got way stronger hands. If it gets to the mat, I'm very curious to see where that goes. But I think Slava Claus might actually finish him TKO.
Yeah, Slava Claus is a guy for me who, man, when he looks good, he looks good. When he doesn't look good, he doesn't look good. So I just always wonder what Slava's going to show up. But before we even jump into the, recent wins, recent losses, Tapology, I was a little bit surprised to see is pretty overwhelmingly in favor of Slava Claus, and it's basically all brown. So 63% is rolling with Borshev, all brown for the KO, and 37% is going with the Dream Chase Hooper, majority copper for the sub. So if you were to find a Chase Hooper pathway, do you think submission is the most likely, or what are your thoughts on if there is a way for Chase to get this done?
I think the only way Chase is getting this done is if he takes it to the ground and gets a submission. If he doesn't get a submission, he two pump chumps, I think Slaviclaus might put his lights out.
Yeah, he might. I mean, Steve Garcia was able to do that in basically 90 seconds. I mean, at this point, it was almost 2 years ago, and that was Chase Hooper's last loss. But we've seen him go out to hard punchers before, and we know Borshchev is a guy with pretty slick boxing, right? He's definitely refined his ground game, working at alpha male throughout the last couple of years, but the boxing is what Slava Claus is there to do. But Chase Hooper, I mean, we got to mention, Meeple, he's won two in a row. He just took out the Monkey King, easy light work in the first round, and that to me was a little bit surprising because we sort of anticipated that fight being close. Two dudes with similar skill sets, right? Both trying to have fights hit the mat. But Chase Hooper absolutely smoked the Monkey King. Easy light work. So any chance that we're sleeping on him on this one and he finds a way to get this one done over Slaviclaus, or is he really getting slept early enough?
Uh, Man, I can see going either way. I could even see a decision and just being a smother, hugging session by Hooper, or just a tag him up because Hooper is a tough kid, but I think Slaviclaus got that power to put him away.
Yeah, I actually like what you said there, the smother hug sesh. I think the Dream is going to find a way to do that against Slava Claus in this one. I'm going to take the Dream to win a decision. Like you said, the length will frustrate Slava Claus. The grappling hopefully will frustrate Slava Claus. And as long as Chase Hooper is strong enough to impose his will on Vyacheslav Borshislev, then I think Borshislev is going to drop a decision in this one. But to your point, if Chase Hooper is absolutely dreaming in the first round, out cold from those Slava Claus meat bombs, then that to me wouldn't be the craziest thing either. But for my pick, I'm gonna take Chase Hooper decision. You got Slava by finish.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, move us over then, because if Chase Hooper, if that fight goes to the distance, then I would be hard pressed to imagine this fight does. Robelis de Spain, 5-0 minus 218 is taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta, aka Salsa Boy. And last week we found Jose Waldo. This time it's Waldo Cortez, who has been missing but has won two fights in a row. Took out Lucas Brzezinski, easy light work first round finish, and then smoked Andrei Arlovsky, which, I mean, if you're beating Arlovsky, that's a quintessential Anthony Lionheart Smith level test in the heavyweight division. So pretty nice win for Salsa Boy there. But taking on the hype train to Spain, who made his debut against Josh Parisian, aka RuneScape Boy, in March, just a couple weeks ago, essentially 6 weeks ago, and performance of the night, the fight was over in 18 seconds. So Robelis delivered on the hype that he was coming into the UFC with, taking on a step up in competition though against Salsa Boy. So do you like Salsa Boy in this one as a plus 180 dog, or is Robelis de Spain gonna absolutely sleep Salsa Boy too?
Yeah, Salsa Boy he's okay, but I mean, look at this freak monster he's fighting. I would be so scared. This guy is so dang big. He is so dynamic. It's like I don't even know what I'm looking at. This guy's arms, he can punch you from basically the other side of the cage. So what I would say is, Salsa Boy, good luck. I do not envy you this Saturday night. That is for sure.
Yeah, dynamic is is absolutely crazy, but I 100% agree with your point, Meat Boy, because like Salsa Boy is a former baseball player, right? Former dancer, former baseball player, and he's taking on the big boy, right? So when it's big boy versus salsa boy, your boy has to roll with big boy because big boy is an absolute scary monster. The dude seemingly is one of one as far as his build, his size, his scariness is concerned in this heavyweight division. And we know that this is a heavyweight division that's populated with a multitude of scary guys, but this dude kind of stands out, and Tapology is equally as scared as Salsa Boy because 91% is rolling with Robellis, only 9% is rolling with Where's Waldo, and of the 91% that's going with the big boy, it's basically all Brown. So my only question, Meat Boy, is any concerns if somehow Waldo is able to maintain distance? Because we know this is a guy with pretty slick stand up. He's got some nice leg kicks. He's got pretty fast hands, and overall just has a sound arsenal when it comes to the stand up department. So any chance he survives those first couple minutes? And if so, we haven't seen Big Boy go beyond those early minutes in contests. He always wins in the first 30 seconds. So, what are your thoughts on if this fight eclipses even just 2.5 minutes of round one?
I mean, I I don't know. It's very tough to say, but it could be night night or night night.
Yeah, it could be for sure because I mean, Robellis, his last fights, 18 seconds is the longest one. I mean, it's crazy. 18 seconds was his last fight, 4 seconds the fight before that, 3 seconds the fight before that, and 12 seconds the fight before that. So the dude in his last four fights literally has less than a minute of combined fight time. So I'm curious to see what this looks like if it does go beyond the first half of the first round, but we shall see. And ultimately, I'm going to take Robellis in this one. But I am a little bit worried, Meat Boy, and I think that at minus 218, I guess I would have anticipated this to be closer to a pick 'em, just because Cortez Acosta is a guy who has never been finished. So if Robel is able to just do what he does against his most recent opponents to Salsa Boy, then I don't know who's going to beat this guy. But I'm a little bit worried that if Acosta can survive early, that Robelis might end up getting smoked and exposed in this one. But we'll see. I'll continue riding the hype train for now. I'll take Robelis. I'll stay with first round finish, but consider it a reluctant pick because I'm a little worried about this one, Meat Boy, to be honest with you. Am I tripping? Is this like an easy lock for Robelis?
I don't know if it's an easy lock because, uh, Salsa Boy, I would say he's a legit, heavyweight, solid contender. He ain't no top five, no top 10, but I would say he's a good levels test to see where we're at. If he clips this guy, he's done. So man, Rebellis gives me that Francis Ngannou scare vibe where like, oh, I hit him, but it doesn't matter because he hit you too. And guess what? When he touches you, you go night night. But to kind of look back at his history, his first fight, he got the win by KO, but it took him a lot longer to get it, and it was versus a guy that he only had one fight and that was Rebellis, and then he never fought again. So the fact that he almost went to the second round with a guy that's never fought and then never fought again, you wonder if Salsa Boy is going to survive this, and does Rebellis gas out? Does Rebellis pull a Carlos Ulberg where he thinks he's got it and he doesn't, and then he gasses out and then he gets finished? I could totally see that happening because Carlos Ulberg, when he lost that fight, um, um, to who did he lose that fight to again?
Kennedy. Kennedy and
Yeah, to
Cedric.
Kenny's, he would win that fight 10 times out of 10. He just gassed out because he thought he had him on the ropes, and he just did not. But I don't know. Robellis has got that it factor. This is a good one. Even if he knocks out Salsa Boy first round, 10 seconds, still doesn't say much. Heavyweight is such an interesting class where there's not too much, I would say, real skill. Some of them have some solid skill, but there's not many Stipes. There's not many Joneses. There's not many of those types where like we could really see how good he is. It's whoever gets clipped first wins. I mean, it loses. So it's such a crazy weight class. They all could get knocked out. But yeah, I think Rebellis he should win. I'd be surprised if he loses, but also it wouldn't surprise me if he loses or wins in this, to be honest, because we just don't know. It's so much unknown with his 10 seconds of fighting.
Yeah, exactly exactly the point, right? Just so many unknowns with Robelis to Spain, but we'll take him for now. People in the comments will have to let us know if they're equally as worried that Waldo might get this one done, or if they're just buying the Robelis hype train to continue. And I'm glad you mentioned that debut of his. It was versus Katumba Malumba, and Malumba never fought again. And you're right, that did go at the end of the first round. So we'll see what happens here, Meatball. We can go back and forth forever, but. Robelis reluctantly is both of our call. Switches over though, Meat Boy, because this one is another interesting one that I can't wait to get your perspective on. It's Sean the Sniper Woodson, who we got to come clean at Meat Boy MMA. Sometimes we have dogged on the sniper historically, but lately Sean Woodson has been absolutely shutting me up. Is picking up nice win after nice win. We've learned that we just can't meat lock against Sean Woodson because bad things happen when we do, and he's taken on Bruce Leroy in this one, who has also been on a nice little tear lately. However, he did just get smoked in his last fight against Giga, and that was a fight that I expected him to honestly do a little bit better in, but Giga, to his credit, returned with a vengeance and picked up the unanimous victory. But I was impressed with Bruce Leroy's recent wins over our boy Juicy J. Got the win over Daniel Pineda, aka the Pit, and prior to that, his only loss was to Sadiq Youssef, and he had won 5 in a row. So Bruce Leroy, one of those interesting guys who been in the UFC forever, but is just starting to peak in his late 30s and taking on the Sniper Woodson, who really seems to be coming into his own and is aligning with a lot of the hype that he had early on. Because if you remember, this dude came into the UFC by storm, right? Got that beautiful KO flying knee over T-Rex McKinney on Contender Series, and I think a lot of people put the Sniper on a nice pedestal, consider him to be maybe even a future champ, but our boy Juicy J put a quick stop to that. But ever since, the Sniper's been finishing dudes and picking up nice wins. So you taking Sean the Sniper Woodson at -198, or is your boy Bruce Leroy +164 coming through as a dog?
You know, man, yeah, like you said, Sniper's been absolutely shutting us up. It's like he was a bum, now he's coming back. I gotta imagine Caceres gets this done. I think Bruce Leroy, he's grizzled enough. I think similar fighting style, but I think he might be too fast for Sean Woodson. We don't really have to worry about heavy wrestling. Even though I could totally see Caceres actually submitting the Sniper, but I think this is gonna be a karate fight, and I think he's just gonna have to speed on him.
So you're thinking that Bruce Leroy will have the speed on Sean the Sniper Woodson? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I wonder about that because to me, both these guys have similar speed, but Woodson is just so long, right? The dude's 6'2", 78-inch reach, whereas Bruce Leroy, usually a bigger dude in the division, but will still be at a 5-inch reach disadvantage and a 4-inch height disadvantage. So I wonder if the length of Sean the Sniper Woodson will be even more important than any perhaps slight speed advantage that Bruce Leroy has. But nonetheless, you mentioned the grappling, and I think that that could actually be helpful for Caceres in this one. Caceres is a dude who, throughout the last 5 years, he's really developed like a very well-rounded MMA game. Like the dude can do it all at a high level. So I wonder if he has grappling advantages over Sean Woodson, who we know is this Golden Gloves boxer. That's the background of the Sniper, and I think maybe it could be good for Caceres to mix it up and try to get some takedowns. But if you look at Tapology, me boy, 70% is rolling with the Sniper, 30% going with Bruce Leroy, and it's basically beige on both sides. So they think a decision is most likely. If you're taking Caceres, do you also like Caceres by decision, or does the speed advantage that you think he will have allow him to pick up a finish over the Sniper?
Yeah, I think the speed will I think it could drop him, get a sub, or just finish him off. But also, Caceres, he doesn't hit too hard. He's a very good solid all around fighter. I could see this being a beatdown, go the distance, and an easy win for him.
Yeah, good stuff. This one to me is fascinating because the Sniper has been winning a lot of decisions lately. He only really has the one official UFC finish over Colin Anglin in 2021. Everything else has been a decision for him. And then we know Bruce Leroy is a guy who literally never gets finished. Crone Gracie, I think, submitted him, but besides that, Bruce Leroy rarely gets finished. So because of those facts, the fact that Sean Woodson never gets finishes and Bruce Leroy never gets finished, I'm taking Sean Woodson to get a finish, me boy, because that's the kind of stuff that happens in the UFC. As soon as you don't think something will happen, it happens. So I'm taking Sean Woodson. I think he is one of the first guys to beat Alex Caceres, and I like him to get a second or third round TKO. I really think that the length of the Sniper is going to frustrate Bruce Leroy, and this to me is not the sad ending of Alex Caceres, but I feel like Caceres, after that loss to Giga, isn't going to go on another fat run. And I think Sean the Sniper is just starting to reach his pinnacle. So I'm taking Sean by finish. Any potential that happens?
It could, but I think he's just too sluggish and slow. He does have that nice reach, but I don't know. I gotta imagine Caceres, he's a karate master. He's gonna know the distances and know how to evade it. And we don't need to worry about a Kron Gracie submission in 5 seconds because Woodson has zero ground game. But seems he has proved me wrong where he does have takedown defense, which he will not have to use in this fight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens for sure. I mean, we've been dogging on Sean Woodson, so now that I am buying the hype, perhaps I'll be the sucker in the end. But I'll take Sean Woodson by finish. You got Bruce Leroy. Any last thoughts on that one?
No, it's a fun fight nonetheless.
Yeah, swap us over because there's another fun one, meat boy, a dude who you have been singing the praises of for a while now, Mateusz Rebecki, aka Rabisti, who is 3-0 in the UFC, keeps picking up finish after finish. Loic Rojaboev got absolutely smoked second round, and then most recently Roosevelt Roberts they tough break for Roosevelt Roberts, but they essentially threw him to the wolves that was Rabisi. Rabisi devoured him in 180 seconds, basically. So easy light work from him, but this is a massive step up in competition, taking on Diego Ferreira, who is a guy who is 18-5 overall, is a plus 250 dog, and is almost 40 years old. But if you look at the, I mean, can you name a dude with better losses than this guy? I mean, of his 5 losses, he lost to Beneil Dariush twice, lost to Greg Gillespie when Gillespie was still fighting, lost to Dustin Poirier and Gamer Gamrot. So unless you are a top guy, Diego Ferreira usually beats you. I mean, this guy has wins over Pettis, has wins over Kyle Nelson, who's kind of peaking, beat Aubin Mercier, who's the PFL GOAT, and then most recently picked up a performance of the night finish over Michael Johnson in a fight that he was losing the first round, and then bang, just absolutely slept him with a second round stiffening punch in round 2. So performance of the night it was for him. He's taking on Rabisi though, who is a minus 310 favorite and carrying a lot of hype. So do you like Rabisi to get it done even over the tough levels test that is Diego Ferreira?
Yeah, I think Rabisi is going to absolutely Rabist him to another level. I honestly think that Rabisi is going to ragdoll him, make this light work, get it done first round.
Yeah, he might. I mean, that is what he's been doing to guys. But one thing that I found fascinating, and I'm curious to get your perspective, is we know Rabisi is a guy who is trying to overpower you, get some takedowns. He can mix it up on the feet as well. But the dude is a big power grappler and often uses his size and reach and strength to really frustrate guys. But Diego Ferreira is one of those like sneaky kind of big lightweights. I mean, he's 5'9" against Rabisi's 5'7", and he's going to have an 8-inch reach advantage. He's got that long 74-inch reach. So any chance that Diego, who is also a competent BJJ black belt in his own right, is it possible that he's able to dictate where this fight goes? And if so, keep this fight standing and maybe threaten Rabisi at all? Like, are you at all concerned that Rabisi can't impose his will on Diego Ferreira, or is it just going to be ragdoll sesh?
I think this is gonna be ragdoll sesh. I know Fajeda is a legit fighter, but I think Fabisti's the real deal. I mean, this dude's no joke. The power he has, the strength he has, the cardio he has, it's pretty insane. And I just don't think Fajeda's gonna be ready for it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? And I'm curious to see if Diego, if it's the same Diego we saw against Michael Johnson, because if so, I think that guy has plenty of life against Rabisi. But Rabisi, you have been selling me on, and every time he does fight, he seems to get better and better. I just know that Roosevelt Roberts and Diego Ferreira are on different levels. So this to me is a great levels test. I love the matchmaking, but Tapology's awful bullish. They're with you all the way, meat boy. They think Rabisi gets this one done. Easy light work. 93% is rolling with the Polish fighter, and 7% is rolling with Diego. It's basically all brown for the Rabisi. So are you final pick going with KO/TKO for Rabisi?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, very interesting. I'll go the same route, Meat Boy, but if Diego gets this one done, it won't be the most shocking thing in the world to me because Diego still I think has a lot of fight in him, but we'll see if Rabisi is a future champ level guy because this one's interesting and at minus 310, kind of expensive in my opinion. So I'll take Rabisi with you. Swap us over to the Meat Boy. We got a couple more to go. Your boy, the Black Jag. Meatlock is Juicy K. His older brother teammate at CKB is your boy Black Jag, and what can you say about Black Jag? He's won 5 in a row. You mentioned the Kenny and Crew fight earlier in the breakdown, and that was his UFC debut. It was a fight where he had Kenny done. He was Dunzo Balunzo dead to rights, and just couldn't land that final punishing blow. And once he was able to gas out, essentially, was when Kenny took over. But since then, it's been 5 easy, light work victories for Olberg. A lot of finishes in there. 4 of the 5 wins by finish, 4 straight finishes, and even got a performance of the night finish over Ihor Poteria, who just loves getting finished. But nonetheless, he's taken on Alonzo Menefield, who is also on a nice little streak of his own. I mean, this is a guy who's only lost 1 of his last 6 fights. He's won 4 of his last 5, and there was a draw against Jimmy Crute in there, which he probably should have won as well. But what are your thoughts on this one, Meat Boy? I know you've been riding the Black Jag. I know you've been saying for years that this guy might be a future champ, but I know you also respect what Menefield has done recently. So these guys are meeting in the middle. Are you taking Atomic Alonso, or is the Black Jag gonna take out Alonso?
Yeah, Menifield's been looking absolutely great. He's a big dude. He's got some big power. He throws big bombs, but I mean, Blackjack's no joke. I think he's going to show why City Kickboxing is the best gym. Him and Izzy are no joke. Their spacing, their speed, their technique is absolutely insane. It wouldn't surprise me if somehow the Blackjack gets caught by an absolute atomic bomb from the atomic bomber, but I gotta imagine that, 9 times out of 10, Blackjack should win this pretty easily, to be honest. So I think Blackjack's gonna win this fairly easily, and I could totally see him, kicking those legs, those big thunder thighs, making him weak, and then by second, maybe third round, but I think second round will be a KO. Blackjack.
Yeah, that's a great call, Meepo. You got to imagine that the leg kicks could be huge in this one, and if Olberg is able to create that space and manage that distance like we expect him to, I mean, he's the high-level kickboxing champ that he is, then perhaps those calf kicks can really slow down Menafield in the very beginning because, like you said, Menafield is going to be throwing those atomic bombs for sure, and 9 out of 10 times, perhaps the Blackjack gets it done, but that 1 out of 10 when the atomic bombzo lands for Alonzo, then could be bad news, and Olberg is Delonzo, but we'll see for sure. I do think, though, Meat Boy, that Olberg will get this one done. I wonder, though, any chance Alonzo tries to make this a grappling match and maybe just bum rushes him, closes distance, tries to avoid a YOLO knee and find ways to get this up against the cage, maybe even get some takedowns and try to damage Olberg that way on the ground, because against Jacoby we saw some nice groundwork, and it seems like Menafield is a little bit more keen these days on not just throwing the meatballs but also mixing in the grappling. So any chance that Menafield has a grappling heavy attack, and if so, you worried at all for Olberg?
I could definitely see it, but I'm not worried for Olber. He's got great takedown defense. He's never been kept down. I think he'll use that reach and that range pretty good, and he's gonna snipe him the whole time.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm hopeful that's the case, and I'm with you, Meat Boy. I'm going to take Olberg to get a finish in this one, but Menifield's tough, and I don't know. I'm looking at Olberg's recent opponents, right? Tafon and Chukwi, Nigo Mariano, Poteria, Da Un Jung, who basically lost to Smile and Sam. None of those guys, I think, are even as good of grapplers as Menafield. So let's see if that one plays out at all, but I'll roll with you. Don't really love minus 258 though. I think that Menafield at plus 210 has a lot of life. So lastly, are you surprised at all by those odds, or is close to minus 300 really what Blackjack is going to be costing every single time he fights?
Yeah, I think minus 300 is gonna be kind of the gold standard for him. Maybe even a steal on his odds because I just don't know how he isn't gonna be champ in the next 2 3 years. He's so good. There's not too many. 205 is an interesting one. It seems that everyone can kind of beat everyone. There isn't this John Jones. Um, Pereira, is maybe that guy, but he is getting older. I don't know. I would love to see Blackjack versus Pereira. I think that would be a karate match of the ages, and I think it would be a very close fight.
Yeah, that would be fun. I wouldn't be too upset with if Blackjack gets this one done. I wouldn't be too upset with Blackjack getting the winner of Jamal Hill versus who's Jamal Hill fighting? The dude who used to be in a band with the leg kicks. Jamal Hill
Oh,
versus
Khalil Roundtree.
Khalil Roundtree. I wouldn't be upset if he got the winner of that because that to me would be absolutely crazy. But you mentioned the odds being, minus 258 being the new gold standard, and perhaps that's true, Meat Boy. New gold standard from the Gold Coast, going for the gold belt, and we'll see if the Blackjack is the next dude. So let us know in the comments who you're rolling with. Is Alonzo Menafield at plus 210 going to get this one done, or Blackjack keep the streak going? But swap us over, Meat Boy, because there's another two fighters who are trying to keep their streaks going. It's the co-meet event, and we saw at the UFC 300 press conference, Joaquin Buckley did his best to crash the show. He got the final press question. He said, Dana, give me the main event slot on this St. Louis card. Ultimately, he gets the co-meet slot against Nursultan Ruziboev, who is a dude who has a Michel Pereira-like record, has basically 50 fights despite only being 30 years old, and a guy who didn't get his UFC opportunity till way late in his career, but once he got it, he has just been absolutely killing it. 2 easy light work first round finishes, and once when he was a sizable dog against Bruno Ferreira in that debut, but most recently it was against Cedric Dumas. Easy light work first round finish for Nursultan, and he's taking on Buckley, who clamored for this opportunity, is riding a 3-fight win streak himself, and ever since dropping down to 170, Buckley has been looking better than ever. So at minus 166, do you like Joaquin Buckley to get this one done in front of his hometown crowd in St. Louis, or you rolling with Peanut Butter Piper's main training partner, Nursultan Ruziboev?
Yeah, I could totally uh see Peanut Butter Piper's boy lose this because Buckley has been really proving himself. But I gotta go with Team Peanut Butter Piper. I really do think this kid might be the real deal. He definitely has some crazy power. Last fight, a little controversial on the stoppage, but I still think he had it there. Light work. Now it's gonna be very interesting if Buckley tries to mix it up, not just strike but throw takedowns. We don't really know too much on Ruzibov on his ground game, if it's top tier, if he even has it. We know his stand-up's pretty crisp, but we know Buckley's is pretty crisp too, and he's kind of a veteran at this point. So this is a big levels test for Ruzibov, and I think the UFC put him there for a reason. They're seeing if he is going to fumble like Joe Peanut Butter Piper, or if he clenches up and destroys Buckley. Great things are coming though if he gets this done, because Buckley is a solid name, I would say, nowadays. He's had some fancy KOs. He's been looking good. He's beaten some good guys. So if he beats this, I think it's just only uphill for Ruzibov, like a big opportunity for him.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for both guys. I feel like it's an impressive win for whoever gets this one done. And, just to add to it a little bit, Joaquin Buckley, 5'10", 76-inch reach, and Ruzi Bolov is a monster, right? The dude is 6'5", reach NA. So no one even knows how long Ruzi Boev's reach is. We just know that he's 6'5". So absolute monster for Ruzi Boev. And you mentioned, we haven't really seen a lot of the groundwork. You're right, we haven't in the UFC, but this is a guy in Ruzi Boev who is able to go there. The guy has 20 submission victories. So of his 34 wins, 20 via sub, and he even won the WEF middleweight championship against Pavel Masalski with an easy light work first round submission. So this is a guy who, even though he's been falling in love with the TKOs and the KOs recently, and that's what we've seen in his UFC tenure, he can mix it up down there as well. So I hope that Buckley brings a well-rounded plan in this one, because I want to see Ruzi Boev all over the place, because this dude is supposedly next level, and we've only really seen half the game. So Buckley is the slight favorite, Meat Boy, around minus 150, but one of those interesting ones where Tapology is awfully bullish on Ruzi Boev, and oftentimes, let's just say I'm not too surprised that Tapology is rolling with Ruzi Boev, but 64% is rolling with Nursultan, and basically most of it, all of it is Brown for the KO. So if you're taking Ruzi Boev with Tapology, do you think TKO KO is the way he gets it done over Buckley?
Yeah, I think 100%. I'd be very surprised if this goes the distance. I think one of these guys are getting finished. I gotta imagine that Rusibov is gonna get it done on the feet. He has the nice reach, should be able to snipe him real good. I doubt this goes to the ground, but I'm down to see what happens if it does go to the ground. This should be a really good fight.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Been going back and forth, and when we saw Buckley, I mean, I know it's a different weight class, but when Buckley fought against Nasruddin Imavov, he really struggled against the length and the game plan that Imavov was bringing to him. And I feel like Ruziboev and Imavov, again, despite being different weight classes, have similar fight styles for sure. But in this one, Meat Boy, I'm actually going to be taking Joaquin Buckley. I just feel like he is on another level right now in this welterweight division, and the fact that he just smoked Luque as easily as he did. I'm interested to see who's going to put a stop to this Buckley hype train. So I'm taking Buckley in this one. I think he picks up a finish over Ruzi Boev, but if Ruzi Boev, like you said, gets a finish, then this dude is that good, because I have a lot of respect for what Buckley's doing lately, and a finish over Joaquin, to me, gives Nursultan a highly ranked opponent next. So fun fight. I got Buckley by finish, though. Any last thoughts on the co-meet?
No, this is a fun one nonetheless. And yeah, let's get over to the meat event.
Fun one nonetheless. It's the final one, meat boy. It is the Derek Lewis, St. Louis, the Saint of St. Louis, taking on Rodrigo Nascimento, who's plus 130 and hasn't lost since he got absolutely slept by Chris Dawkins way back in late 2020. So pretty good stuff from Rodrigo recently. He's won 4 in a row. One of them got overturned because he popped hot for Ritalin, but it's basically 4 straight wins for Rodrigo. And Derek Lewis has lost 4 of his last 5, but this is one of those St. Louis meat event opportunities for Derek Lewis against a straight up can to get him back on track, get Derek Lewis more exciting fights. I mean, everything the Black Beast partakes in will be fireworks, but you love to see him against guys not really named Rodrigo Nascimento. But what are your thoughts on this one, meat boy? Because Black Beast, despite having lost 4 or 5, is a minus 155 favorite, and Nascimento hasn't lost in nearly 3 years. So you taking Nascimento as a dog, or is this the kind of opponent that the Black Beast needs?
Yeah, man, I think the Black Beast is gonna knock this guy out first round. This screams just like first round, arguably first 60 seconds, hammer it, KO. But I think Black Beast will actually get the KO on this one. I could see either one getting the finish, but I gotta go with Black Beast. It's not in his hometown. He never wins in his hometown, so there's a good chance he wins this one.
Yeah, true. This fight is not in Houston, and you mentioned this being an under 60-second banger. So you're basically anticipating this fight to look exactly like that fight against Rogério de Ligma, where he just charged across, essentially Masvidal on Askren style, and slept him with that beautiful flying knee, 2 TKO punches. But that was over in 30 seconds, and de Ligma was even a favorite in that one. So do you anticipate this one, even though Nascimento's a slight dog, to go down essentially as de Ligma went down?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna be very similar to that.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'll roll with you, Meepo. I'll take Derek Lewis, but consider it a little bit reluctant of a pick, and definitely not including Derek Lewis in any parlays because I don't know, man. It's just always dangerous with the Black Beast because he has been getting smoked lately. But again, those are against Jelton Almeida, the Polar Bear, Pavlovich. Got slept by Tuivasa, which you don't love to see, but guys that perhaps are tougher than Nascimento. But again, Nascimento, a lot of fights in a row. Most recently, just beat Dontel Mays and had the split decision victories before that. So it's good match. It's good matchmaking. It's a good opportunity for Nascimento. But I'll roll with you, boy. I'll take Black Beast to get a finish in this one. And then we were talking earlier. I hope that Robelis gets a finish. I hope Black Beast gets a finish, and then I want to see those two dudes fight because that would be absolute fireworks. Allow them to headline another card, and let's see what Robelis is really about against the Black Beast because that would be funny fireworks for sure. So in this one against Nascimento, I'll roll with you. I'll take Black Beast. I'll take him by first round finish. Any chance this fight goes beyond 5 minutes, or is this over early?
If it goes past the first round, I will be mind blown. This is going to be a 60-second banger, definitely under the first half of the round. I just don't know how it does. If it goes, I will be mind blown if it goes past the first round. That would be insane. This should be fireworks. Definitely makes sense why it's not a pay-per-view because the main event is going to last not worth the money because it's going to end really quick.
Yeah, it might be over early and often, and perhaps someone's getting absolutely slept for sure. But would be interested if it hits the second or third round because then things could get sloppy and even funnier for sure. So we're both taking Derek Lewis in the meat events. 8 banger meat boy. We both went 5-2 last week. The meat lock did not hit. So before we wrap this thing up, of the 8, the meat lock's hitting Juicy K for sure. But what's your record after this UFC St. Louis card?
I think I'm gonna be 6-2 on this one. I think I'm gonna do pretty good, but I think there might be a few upsets.
Yeah, 6-2 for you. I'm saying 5-3 for me. I wonder towards the middle of the picks, those mid-vid rippers, you just never really know how those ones come through, meat boy. So I'll say 5-3 for me, 6-2 for you, but Juicy K capitalized for sure. So any last thoughts, meat boy?
No, this is a solid card right after the Brazil card. I'm super pumped. A lot of good prospects. I think a good amount of future potential champs also. So definitely throw in the comments which fight you're most excited about. And thanks for smashing sub and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video.